The clock strikes 12, I step into the haze. Whispers call me from 1,000 graves. Shadows dance in corners out of sight. I chase the unknown deep into the night. I hunt the fear you dare not face. In the darkness I embrace the trace. The dead, they speak their secrets shown. Welcome to the bizarre and the unknown. A flicker, a chill, a shadowed hand. The unseen lingers where I stand. Through creaking doors and empty halls, I hear the echoes of forgotten calls. I hunt the fear you dare not face. In the darkness I embrace the trace. The dead, they speak their secrets shown. Welcome to the bizarre and the unknown. And the unknown. Eyes that watch from a place unreal, a touch so cold it makes you feel they're near but hidden, veiled in shade. I walk with ghosts, I'm unafraid. I hunt the fear you dare not face. In the darkness I embrace the trace. The dead, they speak their secrets shown. Welcome to the bizarre and the unknown.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Czar and Unknown. I'm your host, E.D. Testman. Today we have the one, the only, Bigfoot, a dwarf. How's it going, Bigfoot dwarf? Salute, my brother.
What's up, bro? Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, bro.
All right, because I cannot see you. Let's see if I could figure this out here. Whoa, all right. I see
Oh,
something
can
going on
everybody else see me?
here. I could kind of see you now, so maybe I need to close this here. Boom. There we go.
All right.
How you doing?
So, dude, I've been running nonstop today. You know, we kind of texted back and forth when I was working on that book, Lucian, Angels and Devils or Demons. You know, of course, I've been doing research on ancient Jerusalem, trying because I always write accurate places for accurate time frames. So, man, I'm pulling up. You know, what do they call this at this time? What cities were around here at this time? You know, so I just finished chapter 2 called Malachi, the Manipulus. The I can't even say the word now. Anyways, yeah. Hey, Don. Um, So yeah, I've been busy, and of course, trying to work on my lawnmower. Got the new belt put on, broke my dang fuel pump accidentally. I wasn't getting some pressure or primer coming up, so I was taking off the fuel hose. When I did, I accidentally broke the nipple off my fuel pump. So now I'm like, crap, I got to dig all that out now. You
Oh
sent me
man,
something
yeah,
pretty
no,
interesting yesterday.
you sound busy as
Huh?
usual. You sound busy as usual.
Well, this is what happened. I broke that piece right off on that fuel line. So now I've got to get that dug out. So yeah, it's I've been trying to run back and forth. My knee's doing better today, so I'm trying to get caught up on some work. I am hurting a little bit. I got to pop a pill here in a minute, kind of help keep the swelling down. But no, it's been good. Last night you sent me something interesting, and I've been hitting on it off and on all day, trying to pick it apart. Because that's when I investigate things. I'm not going to go in and go, this is cryptid, this is paranormal, or this is supernatural. I'm going to go in and go, what could cause this? What can do? Because I approach it at a forensics mindset. And in forensics, when I was doing that stuff in college, is you always eliminate the less obvious, and that will leave the obvious. And then once you go to the obvious, then you got to start breaking that down to go to what is the fact. So that's what I was trying to do in this stuff, man. I've watched 2 or 3 different shows today on this. All of them's got their own spill to it. All of them's got the same evidence, but it's that oh man, I forgot his name. That Galavani
Giovanni. Yeah,
Giovanni Pelletier. Yeah,
Giovanni Pelletier or something like that. Yeah. I
yeah.
don't know if
And that
anyone's in
so
the
for
chat who's
those,
been following.
why did you break it, Eric Carl? Yeah. So that happened down in Florida. So there's several factors that play in on this case right now. Several factors. So I'm not leaning one way or another on this yet because there's not enough evidence. Now, we all know what certain entities like to do when you get something that pops up, and that's they like to hide evidence. And the fact that they have not released the coroner's report on this yet, folks, it don't take multiple days to figure out what happened to somebody when they 187. When you come up on a 187, you pretty much know within that day what happened to the dude. Unless there's no marks period, then that could take up to 24 to 72 hours. I don't remember how long a case was, and I didn't even think about looking at that prior to you sending it to me, so I don't know how old this case is. So for me, coming into it on a forensic side, I'm going, okay, so we know. So this is the what is the word I'm looking for? This is the verbal confirmation, which there's no actual scientific confirmation. This is verbal confirmation yet. He's been in trouble in North Carolina. So he's not been doing any type of substance, Apparently he did do some broccoli, even though he had told his mama no. And he has texted his mom, his grandparents multiple times saying help. The people in the car, which doesn't have the best of reputations, I'll give you that. They're all been in one kind of trouble or another. One of them not very good, kind of getting a lot of trouble. I don't want to say too much on it. It's not my case. It's not my circus, not my monkey. But I want to point these facts out when we get to where my mind is going on this. So apparently, the gentleman got agitated, wanted to get out of the car, was caught on camera 2 different times. One trying to go across the I-70, second time from a business's camera running down the hill to where eventually he was found. Odd thing was the people looking for this gentleman had been through that area multiple times and never seen him, and it was somebody else, a member of the family, who found him in this. It's the Giovanni Pelletier case out of Florida, Roxanne. So he it was a member of the family. Hey, Justin, I see they got your name fixed. They apparently a member of the family is the one that found his remains in the retention pond between I-70 and this place of business. So here's some things that they do state. And you can, this is all you can pull up. This is on Fox News. You can pull this up. There's other people covering. There's been several people that's covered this already. And it's quite interesting to hear the comments of people who's commenting on this. I don't want to make a speculation. I'm just going to approach it at a scientific forensic level. One, there was an altercation. That's pretty dang obvious. Two, he did want some help. Three, possibly he did partake of a broccoli. Number four, in the video, you watch him clearly afraid of something, and then you clearly go to watch him run down to where he was found, and then nothing else after that. So that's good, Justin. I'm glad to see that. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought I missed something in the comments for a second. So let's look at it on a forensics point of view on this. So number one, he partaked of a broccoli. Oh, I accidentally, sorry about that. He partaked of a broccoli. Now, I had been victim of a laced broccoli myself at one time, and I had pink elephants trying to crap on my head, and I chased a leprechaun around for an hour because it had a wizard pipe that I wanted so bad. Hey, bolt gun. So does that happen? Having laced broccoli? Absolutely. Certain things laced in it because it can have it cause you to trip balls and see things you're not meant to see. Folks, there's hundreds of thousands of cases of that actually happening. It does happen. Hey, Roger. So is this one aspect we're looking at? Did he get a hold of some bad broccoli that caused him to hallucinate? And this is why you see him freaking out, running into traffic, and then running down this hill to this retention pond, which eventually is where he was found. Somehow missed by search parties, but found by a family member. And the reason why I keep repeating that, because that's something key evidence right there. I'm sorry, folks. If you've got a search party and they've been over that area multiple times and nobody's seen something, and then a family member goes over that same spot and finds them, something ain't right about that situation. So that automatically sticks up a red flag for me. Okay, I need to focus on this because this is an option that could play into this case. Number two, he did freak out. He did see something which caused him to freak out. Now, I'm not putting the broccoli into this category yet. That'll be a second part to this category later on. So we're going off the first spot of it, and that is he's sober. He's having fun with his friends, his family members. One of them he hasn't ever seen before. They're hanging out. They're cruising. They see something. Carl says EPA already lied and said nothing to worry about concerning the fire, and it's just what they said it is in Louisiana. Oh, okay. Never mind. You're talking about a different deal. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. Okay, Carl. Yeah, they do that quite often, bud. They do that quite often. Justin says, remember the CIA experiment on people with LSD? Yeah, that happened for a long time. Yeah, oh yeah. That is a mind control substance. So, and that kind of points to what I'm kind of hinting at on certain not very good broccoli on that, Justin. So he's sober. They're having a good time. See something. He's freaking out. He's wanting to get out of that car because he's not in his right state of mind. He's stressed. His levels of stress and anxiety is like through the roof. You've seen something you've never seen before, you never thought existed, and you've seen it. Folks, no matter if you're a diehard believer or not, if you run into that thing for the first time, your stress levels are going through the roof. Your adrenaline is going through the roof. Your anxiety is going through the roof. Hence why we always say it's hard to get a true statement right after something happened because them levels are still elevated. When you come down is when you start remembering things that you may have forgot during the initial investigation. This is why investigators take multiple questionings with you on different times or different time frames. So this is the reason why, because you got to get them levels down where your brain slows down and you start remembering things because at that time your brain's going 90 to nothing. Your brain's trying to make up, trying to reason for everything that just happened and all that. Everybody, please pray for Miss Lene. She is going in tomorrow for surgery. Get to. Hey, prayers. Shout out to Miss Lene. I love her so much. She's good peoples. Thank you, Roxanne. So we have to factor that in this situation that we're seeing now because we only got a very small piece, a very small piece of this puzzle that we're having to speculate on of what happened to this poor young feller. Okay, and oh, your mic's muted. Did you mute that or did I?
I got it. I've been controlling it here.
Oh,
Yeah, I got the
okay.
mic.
Okay, I just want to make sure, buddy. I just have to say something.
Yeah, no worries.
Hey, Riley. So, in this factor, if he's sober, he did see something. This would explain his sporadic running into multiple lanes of traffic, causing trucks to veer from hitting him, freaking out because he probably seen something on the other side of the road, which then turned around and made him go back the way he came from what he was running from before because he probably thought, oh crap, it got the jump on me, not realizing there could be multiple of these things, which ultimately led up to where we last saw him uncontrollably sprinting down this steep ass embankment into this retention pond. Now, could he have tripped, went unconscious, fell face first in this retention pond, and that was the end of the gentleman's story? That is 100% a very good possibility of what happened to this poor gentleman. Um, Another factor you got to put in: if he was on lace broccoli and he thought he was seeing stuff, the same scenario could play out, just a different I forgot the term, a different factor into what caused him to be this sporadic. So, without hearing the coroner's report of what the cause of the 187 was, um, without the talk screens, without all the stuff, we can only throw stuff at a dartboard and see what it lands on. My speculation is, after reviewing this multiple times, I'm down to two conclusions. Conclusion A: he got into it with his family member and friends, which caused him to leave the vehicle, which in the end put him in an area that certain things were hunting in that area, which caused him to be in that. And that altercation could come from because they're trying to peer pressure him and taking some broccoli when he's like, dude, no, I can't. I'm trying to be clean right now. I'm trying to get myself right. I've got papers. I can't do this, and I'm fixing to go over and do this. And if I get caught, then papers get pulled, and I go back. Hey, Lisa. So that is option one of what could happen to this young gentleman. Option two was, I'm sorry, he got a hold of some bad stuff, hallucinated, and in the end is what came up with this. So I kind of want to hear your thoughts on this, Dwarf, because you're the one that
Yeah,
sent
no,
this
I
to
thought it
me. But
was
I can just tell you what I came across.
yeah, no, I thought it was very interesting actually from uh off the bat because him being found in water, and people drown all the time. But then that's what got my attention, and I was like, all right, I started listening to more of the story. And from what I heard is that he was visiting from North Carolina to meet some of his
Mm-hmm.
dad's side of the family that he's had never met before. And so he gets to
Mm-hmm.
Florida. I forget what part, and some of his cousins came from a different part of Florida. I think they were several hours away too, about 2, 3 hours away or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And they got to where he was,
Yeah.
and it was about 1 in the morning. It was late at night, so I thought that was pretty odd too, to get picked up late at night and then drive off somewhere. So they obviously went driving somewhere, and yeah, they did partake in some cannabis, which is another red flag. For me, It sounds a little more than cannabis to me because most people don't seem to react like that. But nowadays, you do hear a lot more people having like panic attacks and stuff like that. And you know, they say it's due to
Allergic
the
reactions.
yeah, you know, I guess, but due to the high grade cannabis and stuff like that. And I've seen
Mhm.
you know, people react like that, so I get that. But yeah, it just seems like something more heavier, you know, like I don't know, obviously some sort of psychosis went on there, and I guess I don't know if cannabis, it probably can trigger that in very few people, but yeah, it just
Yeah.
seems maybe like I don't know, maybe they were partaking. In my mind, I'm thinking maybe they were into some like psychedelics or something, maybe some mushrooms or something else. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different things around these days,
Blending things you
and
shouldn't blend.
yeah, and so I thought I was figuring maybe something along those lines because according to
Hmm.
the sheriff when he did the press conference, and I sent you that one, and it
Yeah.
was news to me when I heard that he was mentioning that his cousins were saying that he was saying after they had smoked or whatever that he claimed to be a demon and that he was going to wreck the car and
Yeah.
kill everyone in it. And so that's maybe why everyone
Right.
in the car threw him out. You know, that I could see that if someone's really flipping out because they said he also had two knives on him.
Hmm.
And I believe he might have popped one of them out. So, you know,
Hmm.
you know, if that's all true, that is a reason for him to get kicked out of the car. They did mention also there was one point where he asked to use to relieve himself, so they stopped and they let him out, and I think they let him back in the truck, and soon after is when he maybe ran out. I got to go over the details on that too. But yeah, then a little before the press conference, actually they released, and I actually remixed the video. I forget what news channel put it out, but they showed yeah, the two
Fox.
pieces of footage. Um, I think I got it from another news station, but yeah, they showed the video of him running across the highway, which they said he was almost hit by I think a big rig or something like that. And then yeah, they show him sprinting down like super fast. I was like, whoa, I was blown away about how fast he was going down that hill. You know, that's the type of speed when you're like
Yeah.
running for your life, you know, type. I'm surprised he didn't fall over on himself there, but it seemed like maybe that's what happened when he got to the end of the pond there. And yeah, you mentioned about them searching
Now.
that area. I'm not sure. I didn't hear any
Yeah.
details on that, but that's super interesting that they did search that area. And there were some other details that I didn't, you know, really follow up on. But there was something they were bringing in. I don't know if there were some other cases, homicide. I think it might have been some homicide cases that were either near where he was found or something like that. So they were kind of, you know, bringing that up. But yeah, to me, also again, you know, we don't have the results, so we don't know if he drowned or not. You know, and a lot of times the reason why I had this case got my attention also is because there's people that follow the missing 411 phenomenon, and you know David
Hmm.
Paulides' work, and there's other people that have put out work within that subject. But David Paulides has this like he breaks it up into sections. So he's written books, and there's one called "The Sobering Coincidence," which is about people being found mysteriously in water, and um,
Yeah.
and so this it just reminded me of these types of cases. And actually, there's been a few lately where I'll catch them on the news like this before David Paulides or anyone else puts it out, and then sure enough, later on he will report on those cases. And so I'm having a feeling that this might be along his criteria. So we'll see if he touches on the case. But yeah, no, I definitely want to follow up and see what's happening. And I'm glad I was able to share that with you. And I wanted to bring that up. And yeah, kind of strange, I think.
Well,
Either
and
or, you know, even if it is just a drowning and he had a panic attack, I think for him to mention that, you know, he's a demon, I was blown away by that because I
yeah.
think that's something that you know we're talking about more. These different types of entities and beings and interdimensionals and all this type of stuff. And when you're getting into substances, it is. it's a gateway for these types of things to get a hold of people and stuff like that for
It
sure.
is.
You know, alcohol and all types of other things. But yeah, so it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is, and I'm glad you brought up because I forgot about those key components there. With he was known for carrying multiple knives. Now, this is all hearsay. That's what the term I was trying to remember earlier. Hearsay. This is all hearsay. They actually have no evidence that what these people claimed in the car can happen. So you got to look at that evidence that they're saying. He claimed he was a demon. He had multiple knives. He pulled one out. I mean, the list goes on. You have to put this in two different categories. Category one, they're trying to cover their ass. So they're going to make up a story, which is where if I can see the reports from individuals, if it doesn't line up at all, then I'm going to go, they're making this up. Now, if it lines up very close but not identical, then I'm going, okay, these guys are telling the truth. Now, it's not always going to be identical because they're looking at this from a different perspective. Plus, you got to worry about their mindset. And in their mindset can cause them to forget details or add details. So I don't know. I can't say what they said was actually true or not because I'm not looking at the reports of all the individuals in that vehicle. He's summarizing it up as they all said this. So that's what I have to take this information off of is this is what they all said. So, but it still can be hearsay because if you got multiple people committing a crime, they're known to rehearse their story multiple times before they get questioned in order to save their ass. So you have to consider that in a situation like this. Now, category two is they all told the truth, and this is what actually happened, which leads back to some bad broccoli. They okay, never mind. They're having a separate conversation. I thought I'd seen a question in there for a second. Um, so this is what actually happened, and you're absolutely correct. Different substances can lead into being taken over by something. We're talking the supernatural realm. We're talking demons. We're talking jinn. We're talking this type of stuff that lives to do this to people. You're absolutely right. Substance abuse can lead them to taking over you because it's a gateway, but not a gateway like the feds like to tell you. It's a different type of gateway, but it is a gateway for them to be able to easily overtake somebody. So this is we have to consider this on this case too. The interesting thing and the thing that really sticks out that I absolutely cannot figure out is how did they look over that area and miss it, but that family member found it? And you brought up a good point. There was water in that retention pond at this time. Yes, it is, Justin. It's stuff that I can't say on here because I'll get kicked off. So that's why I say broccoli. Message me and I can tell you what it means, or somebody else can tell you. But yes, broccoli is code for something else.
Or
Uh,
devil's lettuce, hippie
I
lettuce.
guess there you go. I was about to say that. I was like, well, I guess I could say devil's lettuce. Yeah, that's what we used when I was younger. Was devil's lettuce. Wacky tobacco, Southern wacky tobacco was another one. Yeah. So, but that's the one part that I can't figure out is how these guys looked over this area um, and didn't see it, but a family member did. So that's going to tells me two things right now. Right off the bat, my first two thoughts are going in a situation like that is family members are lying. They needed to discard the body, and they did it this way, which does happen. That stuff does happen to try to save their butt. So I cannot discount that possibility of, hey, dude, we got to make this look like a crime scene, like we had no part of it. And you got people that went in and out of that area multiple times, didn't see nothing, came back, and then all of a sudden you see something. Trust me. I mean, and if Carl's still in the chat, he could probably tell you too, because that stuff happens a lot in Louisiana. Number two is he got a hold of a supernatural entity, got a hold of him, took him within their domain, their dimension, did what they needed to, and released the essence, released the remains. There, we'll leave it at that. Released the remains, and then that's when it was found. There are stories about that in Native American culture. There are stories about that in ancient religions, ancient cultures all around the world. So that is also a possibility. Now, anybody in law enforcement is not going to come up with that second opinion because that will not hold up in a court of law. And the only thing they can go off of is evidence that will hold up in a court of law. So this is why people like us can come in here and go, hey, we got these variables here we can add to because we're not held up by the court of law. We won't get disbarred. We won't lose cases because we believe in certain things that happen or certain things that roam around out there that nobody else does. So that's my mindset. Now, if I was hearing you correctly, yours kind of going that route as well.
Yeah, no, and like you said, but another thing that comes to mind questioning is like, what would be the motives for them to, uh, you know, want to go after him? I mean, their family members. Yeah, they never met, but I'm thinking, okay, if they were to, commit a crime and want to kill him or off him, sorry. Yeah, what would be the motives? Is it like, did he have something maybe they wanted? Maybe he had something going on that they wanted a piece of. I don't know. Who knows? I just think, yeah, it would have to
Worried
be
about him
something
snitching?
something valuable, I would imagine, for a family to do that. But yeah, what would be some reasons for them to commit a crime? And the thing is that, yeah, I don't know. I do feel like something happened with him and his mindset, and yeah, maybe they were trying to, maybe they did lace it themselves, and maybe trying to play a joke or something like that, and he just went off the deep end,
Got after.
and just they let him go. They didn't let him back in because he was a danger to everyone in the vehicle, so they had to, just let him out of the car. So
Yeah. And in that lifestyle, you got to consider a couple factors here. If they're worried about him snitching, I'm sorry because I may or may not have been a part of something at one time that it's still saying snitches get stitches. Another one is snitches lay in ditches. I'm sorry, and that don't mean if you're blood or not, man. That has no bearing on the situation. If they live by that code, they live by that code, and blood means nothing. Number two is he could have been the scapegoat. If they'd done something they weren't supposed to do, they probably planned on him being the scapegoat at some point in time because they've never seen him before. So therefore, you can't make a history on them being together doing a crime. He does have a history of doing a crime. Is on papers right now. Perfect scapegoat. I hate to say it.
yeah, no, that's some good points. Good points there. Yeah, so now we'll be watching this. I'll be watching it, and we'll see what they come up with, and hopefully they'll release those results, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll take it from there. But yeah, no, if you hear anything else about this, please let me know. And
Same to
yeah,
you.
yeah, definitely.
So
So
I appreciate you bringing that up. So we
yeah,
are
no
going to be
problem,
talking
man. I
Bigfoots
thought,
today, but I wanted to cover that. Yeah, I wanted to cover that up in the beginning because you brought it up, and it does set up some red flags. Going, there's something here going on that's not there's not the puzzle ain't complete. There's something missing on this puzzle, and when I get a puzzle like that, I get little like I got to figure this out. I got to find this piece. I got to make this puzzle complete. So that's why
yeah,
I was going through it, man. Like I said, I watched it from three different. I've watched it from the Fox News article that you sent me, and then I went on YouTube and watched it on two other sources that were covering it. Hey, Robin, most of everything, everybody was saying the same thing, just they had their own twist to what's going on. I have got a different twist because I know what goes on in them areas down there in Florida. There's a lot of weird and high strangeness that goes on in Florida, folks. I mean, yeah, we got a lot of it here. They probably don't have near as much as we do, but there is enough reports coming out of Florida of some very high strangeness stuff going on. Now, with everybody that goes in and out, and I'm not going to mention ethnicities or stuff like that, but certain types of people come in and out of there all the time. Certain type of business type ethnicities, we'll put it that way, come in and out of the ports of Florida all the time, hauling certain substances. All that can lead into everything that goes on with the high strangeness down there. Then you got to also think that's Seminole territory. Seminole were powerful people, and they were powerful in magic as well, and the good kind. They had very good medicine. They were powerful people, and giving the history of what happened to the native people, it is very well possible they could have left a guardian there if that was a sacred area. And sadly, this poor feller fell into the grips of that guardian. I mean, I'm not trying to make stuff up. I'm just telling you, these are possibilities.
Yeah,
None
no,
of this I'm
definitely.
saying is actually what happened. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we have to
I'm with
consider
you on
that.
that. And that's why, it could just turn out to be something just, completely, uh I don't want to say normal, but some, stuff we're used to. But I think yeah, no, this could possibly have some supernatural elements behind it. And again, we're not saying that's what it is, but yeah, no, we got to be aware of these types of things when these cases come up too, because I do feel that these types of things do happen, so. And yeah, there's been several actually. Last year there's quite a few of these types of cases, and then I think already this year there's been, I don't know if the drowning types, but I know last year there was actually several of them, so it's happening still.
Yeah. Heck yeah. So I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. That was actually an interesting little tad bit of research to do to try to figure out, what happened to this poor guy. It's sad. My heart goes out to the family. It really does. My heart does, because that's not something easy. That's never something easy to deal with. What happened was sad. I mean, Don says he used to run Gator Alley a lot to use to stop at Grass Hut truck stops and eat some steak and sometimes gator. Yeah, I mean them. Swamp. I don't remember if this is in the swamp area or not. I want to say it is close to the Glades, but honestly, I've been researching 3 or 4 different things today, so my research is kind of jumbled together. Uh, but if it is close to the Glades, I can tell you now, in Florida, in the Glades of Florida, there's things that go on out there, and people disappear and never found again very easily. Just like the swamps of Louisiana, swamps of Alabama, swamps of Georgia, swamps of parts of Texas. Something about swamps. It's very easy to not only get lost, but to permanently disappear and never be found. So,
Scary stuff, man. I don't know if I'm going to any swamps anytime soon.
dude, I love it. I mean, they're fun. Of course, the only swamps I've been to is the ones in Alabama and Georgia. But I can tell you, man, there is a different energy in the swamps. The swamps is a mystical energy that, but you got to think of all that happened in swamps, in swampy areas. That was a place to hide from Johnny Law. That was a place to conduct illegal stuff without being caught. That was the stuff that if you wanted somebody to disappear, you took them to the swamps. So there's a lot of bad things that happened in them swamps. Swamps were used for bad things. Not so much during native times. There was obviously some that happened during that time, mainly more so when white man came in. Um, but there's so many things out there. The swamps, man, the swamps are beautiful. Swamps are amazing. Swamps are mystical. But there's damn near everything in that swamp's trying to 187 your backside. You have to be on your toes in the swamp. I mean, you have to. It's that type of place. Don, you're right. Big ass snakes and gators in that place. Absolutely, there is. Justin, absolutely. Watch the waters. Yeah, yeah. That's where I invite all my enemies. Exactly, Carl. Look what happened. The mob spent a lot of time in the swamp. Outlaws spent a lot of time in the swamp. Shiners spent. For those you don't know, when I say shiner, that means a moonshiner. Here we call them shiners. A lot of places call them shiners. So when I say shiners, I'm actually meaning moonshiners. But shiners. Hey, Jessica. shiners have made a living in them swamps. You know, of course, Jessica can probably back it up too. She's from Georgia. You know, them swamps are used for a lot of that type of stuff. So if he was, if that poor young man was found in the glade parts of Florida, hey Amanda, hey Jeff, I can see where this could take place. You know, being a factor of what happened to this poor gentleman.
Yeah,
Could be
I don't know if
wrong. I don't
Jessica.
know. I can just
Hello,
tell you.
Jessica. Yeah, I don't know if Jessica's gotten that case in her radar, but yeah, she might be interested in checking that out. But yeah, no, no. I mean, I've seen plenty of footage from the swamps. Actually, there's some recent Bigfoot. They're old Bigfoot videos, but I seen them again recently, and there's one where it's like hanging on some branches and it dips into the swamp, and I'm just like, wow, like I don't know how those things could even move through there, but they do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they can. I mean, look at the skunk ape. I mean, that's where the name skunk ape came from. Was the swamps. Hey, Kevin. So, and there's a reason why it's called the skunk ape. The swamps can stink. There's part of the swamps that man is just. I mean, it's nasty. It's hey, you know, when Bigfoot goes traveling through that area, do its hunting, and which you know in the swamps, you know, Bigfoot's got a lot of competition. So you got to figure they're going to be more aggressive in them parts. I mean, they really are going to be aggressive in them parts. So, um, yeah, but that's where the term skunk ape comes from, is the swamps because of the smell.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
So,
I've brought up several times. There was an old. Actually, this guy was doing breakdown videos, and he was bringing up these old Disney documentary videos, and they must have been from like the '60s or something like that. And they were showing the property in Florida, and it was actually showing some of the property before it was developed into Disney. So it's Disney's property, and they're talking about all the different wildlife in that area, and they brought up the
mhm.
skunk ape, and I was like, whoa! I wanted to actually get a little snippet of that documentary, and I have not been able to find it. I found a bunch of other Disney documentaries, and I've gone through them, and I could not find it again. And this guy, I don't know, he must have taken the video off of his. He was talking about a whole other subject, but I noticed that they mentioned that, and like I said, it's from like either the early '60s or maybe early '70s. The documentary. It seemed really old, but I was super surprised that they mentioned the skunk ape. Like
Oh
it
yeah.
was just like
Oh,
all the other wild animals there, and yeah, super cool.
oh yeah. So like this year, this actually brought up a memory that I forgot that happens in the swamps. Carl says, I love the swamps. I really do, but it's creepy when it gets dark and dangerous. I was stuck for hours in the dark because the battery died. That when he said that, that reminded me of something else that is very, very, very ingrained in the swamps, and that is hoodoo and voodoo. There's a lot of dark, dark magic that goes on in the swamps. And that's another thing that leads to a lot of the stuff too. Now, people think of hoodoo and voodoo, they think of Louisiana. Folks, let me tell you, hoodoo and voodoo was practiced all over. It wasn't just the swamps. That's just Louisiana gets the credit for it. But anywhere that them people have been, and from their country, they practice hoodoo and voodoo. It happened. So wherever you had, you know, people like at that type of magic was being performed. It's just Louisiana's one that gets the rap for it. So you keep that in mind as well when you're dealing with these. I mean, even when I'm out in the woods, I have to keep that in mind. Is uh, you know, there. I know, like my place, there was witchcraft that was practiced here before we bought it. And we had to cleanse this property multiple times to get rid of that evil that was here on this property because of the witchcraft that was um, performed here. When you have that type of dark magic that's performed, most of the time it takes multiple sessions to cleanse that area of that type of dark magic. When dark magic takes a root in a place, it is very hard to get rid of it. So I have to consider that. Like when I was doing that werewolf investigation, something dark was in that woods. It wasn't the werewolf that chased me out of the woods. It was something dark, something old, something ancient, something very evil. So there's been a lot of death in that area. There's a lot of other stuff going on in that area. So that can bring entities like that into an area. And I knew right then and there that I absolutely was not set up to confront an entity of that magnitude, that level of power, that level of evil. That was one of the few times I've been chased out of the woods. But you have to factor that it's going to happen. You're going to run into places like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that definitely there's some creepy spots. Actually, recently, I don't know if you are familiar with the thermal footage that we got out of the San Gabriel Mountains here, the Angeles National Forest. This was back in November of last year, and it was actually
Hmm.
on my birthday when I think about it. Um, we had gone up into the mountains because I wanted to camp for my birthday, and I took my two nephews who had never gone camping with my brother as well. And so we're heading up there, and right as we're getting into the campground, so I chose this campground because there was a previous Bigfoot report in 1995, and so I figured, all right, this is one of the closest places to us being in the city that has a Bigfoot report, a historical one. So let's check out the campground. So we decided to camp there. But as we were getting to the campground, like we were just maybe several hundred feet away. I mean, the campground entrance was right there. It was dark. It was nighttime, and we noticed a CHP covering the highway, so we couldn't go any further. And there was an accident. A vehicle almost went over the mountain, and so we had to wait there for a bit. My brother went to go, check out what was going on, and came back and said that, yeah, we'd give it a little time and they'd clean up and probably let us through. When they finished cleaning, the CHP, California Highway Patrol officer, walked over to us, and he asked us, what are you guys doing up here? We said we're gonna be camping for the night, and then he was like, all right, well, you guys be very careful because there's been some cult unalivings here recently, and which is not surprising because we're above Los Angeles, and nowadays you're hearing a lot more of the occult stuff happening here, and Hollyweird and all these different scenes and stuff, and so it doesn't surprise me. You've heard a lot about the diddler parties, and you could go on and on about
Yeah.
Hollywood and Los Angeles and the occult and all that. So, and these mountains are just right here. So, if any of these people need a forest, and that's that's where they're at, and so it's not surprising, but at the same time, it's the same time it was surprising just to hear it straight up from a CHP officer. So, yeah, we definitely took that into consideration. And so that night is when we got this thermal footage. We didn't know what we had till we got back after, and I'll have to send you that footage. But yeah, it was this subject. It was at the base of a tree, and my nephew was the one who got the footage, and my nephew's recording it, and he didn't really know what he was recording. He just knew there was something there. And when we were reviewing the video, you could see the subject like dive and cover himself with his arm. And so we figured maybe it was a buddy of mine had told me maybe it was someone cowboy camping and getting into a sleeping bag or something. So we're kicking everything around, and we just the guys, my nephew and my brother and everything, we just don't think it was a person there, man. And so
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of odd, and I don't know, we had of course Bigfoot. I had Bigfoot on the brain. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what it could be. It's pretty odd and strange, and all that happened there. And I'll have to send you a clip of that so you could check it out and you could do your little breakdown
Hey,
on it.
so you were saying what I was kind of grinning about. I'm getting ready to show you. I don't know if you ever seen my thermal capture or not,
No.
but you was talking about it at the base of the tree, right?
Okay.
Let
Yeah,
me
yeah, yeah.
bring this. Uh,
To check it out. And actually, one of my other daytime sightings that I had, actually visual sighting, was at the base of a tree too. So just want to put that out there. All right, let's check this out.
I want you to focus right here. You see that really hot spot right there? This is where we're going to focus. Now, mind you, back off in this direction, way over here, we're hearing you stuff walk around. And that's why I
Okay.
brought this thermal out. The interesting thing was a week later when DA and Noah came out, and right where this is right here was this big old long spot where something had been laying down watching. This is actually the edge of my truck. This is the edge of the woods next to my drive, and we'll play this. Hmm. You see how he ducked back in there? And he comes back out right when I'm panning. Ducks back in, you know he'd been caught.
Yeah, you'll probably
So
have to
that
run
was
that by
him
me.
kind of standing. Yep. So I thought, oh, I'm sorry, I thought my mic was working. It wasn't. Um, so you see there in the beginning where he's kind of standing there, and I've had the thermal on him. And then you see him kind of duck back in, and then as I'm panning, try to capture the other things in the woods, he comes back out. And as I turn the camera back to him, you watch him. He kind of ducks behind that tree. I'll play it from the beginning again.
Okay. Yeah, and luckily my nephew had the thermal. We had it set to, I think it was red hot, so everything is white, and whatever's hot will turn up red. All right, let's check it out. I'm watching.
Okay. Ducks back in. And start panning away. Boom. He comes back out. And you can almost see that head. Let me see if I can get that right on that head.
Yeah,
Give me
and I
one
see
second.
some movement there. And what I was saying is, luckily we had that, the red setting. It was is pretty decent because you could make out what we captured. But I was sharing, actually, I shared that clip with Salish Sasquatch on YouTube. They recently put out a documentary, and they used that clip in there. And yeah, they were telling me about having your thermal, and a couple other guys did also mention having it set to hot white is best.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've got 15 different filters on my thermal that I go through, and
Hmm.
I've tried every single one of them. These woods are so dense at this time of year when this was captured, I couldn't get it. I'd slow this down to 0.25 speed so I can try to pause it right on the head.
Okay.
Bam, right there. You can almost
Yeah,
see
I
the
see.
shape of that thing.
I see. And you know what? And we'd have
I
to
don't know.
and just because we have to always question everything, I would
Yeah.
be interested in finding out if any of that could be due to and I feel there's something there, but people always question, so would any of that be um it calibrating, the thermal unit calibrating?
It could. That is one thing that I was thinking too. But the fact what really turned me off of that's when you watch it duck back into the woods again real quick. You see how when you play at
Right
regular
on.
speed, it melts back behind that tree again. That's why
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I'm
you gotta
kind of
say.
going,
Yeah,
yeah,
send me a copy of that if you don't mind, so I could scrub back and forth and zoom in and
yeah,
switch the little filters and that. But yeah, no, that's
yeah. I
pretty
don't.
cool, man. And I see a lot more people, using the thermal units now, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think it's worth it. Even they got the little phone
Oh yeah,
units, which only go so far. But yeah, no, I've recently stepped up my thermal
that's
game. Yeah, I got for
that's
many
wonderful.
years I had the FLIR Scouts, the old FLIR Scouts, which you could get really cheap now. And
Yeah.
we recently stepped up our thermal game. We got the, what is it, the Taipan. Taipan, I forget the exact model, but it's very similar to the FLIR Scout. But the Taipan, you're able to zoom, and what else? It has there's a couple other features about it that it's a little bit, makes it a little bit better than the FLIR. And but I still have the FLIR unit, still good. And then we also got a hold of, I believe it's also by, so that Taipan is by AGM, is the name of the company, the thermal company. And AGM also has these scopes, like rifle scopes and stuff like that. So we recently
Mhm.
got a hold of one of those and have been using that. I got to use it this time around. I recently went up to Northern California, did our thing up in Bluff Creek, and we could get into that if you'd like. But yeah,
Oh
there's
yeah.
also the armor pad. So there's this like pad. It's almost like an iPad, and they got, it's by, I don't know if that's by AGM also. I'm not sure, but it's called Armor, and it's a, again, a pad, and it has a thermal camera on it, and so that's pretty cool. It only goes so far, but and I got to test it out in the field, so it's not bad. It's something definitely to have around, especially if you're like at base camp, you know, hanging out around the campfire or whatever. It's definitely something you could use to just scan around. You have a wide, pretty wide
Oh.
screen there. It is bright, you know. If you do like darkness, it's probably not the best unit, but like
Hmm.
the scope and the thermals, they keep the light pretty much at your eye, you know. But the pad is pretty bright. But yeah, no, it's a nice tool to have, and yeah, we'll keep on using them.
Well, mine is one that hooks to the bottom of phones. I actually got two now, and I knew this was going to happen to me. So the first one I thought I lost when I got ran out of the woods during that werewolf investigation. So I couldn't find it, and I spent months and months. I dig through all my equipment, dig through everything. I looked through the grass, under the porch, under the ramp. I could not find my freaking thermal, and I'd got it on sale. And they had a sale going, so I got it for a buck 60 instead of its usual price of 265. So I had to reorder it. I reordered it, regular price, 265. Was doing the paranormal investigation down there at Springfield Commercial Club. Was going through my camera bag, which I've literally have emptied that camera bag on live here, showing equipment I use for investigations, and it wasn't in there. I go in, empty out my thermal bag or my camera bag there at the commercial club, and lo and behold, the one I thought I lost was laying in the bottom of that camera bag. So I've actually got two of them now.
Yep, and that's good. I like to have two of everything. I mentioned I had two FLIRs before, and of course one of them got is no, you know, no longer. And luckily I had that second unit, and so I try to double up on things when I could afford it. And yeah, they come in handy. What was another thing about the thermals that was pretty interesting? Yeah, there's a lot. Oh yeah, but we have a buddy of ours, Damon Irons. He comes along to a lot of the Bluff Creek trips, and he's been doing the rounds. He's out of Washington, and he comes around with his thermal drone, which is super fun and definitely an expensive gadget, but a good one to have if you could afford that. And yeah, you got to be able to know how to fly that. You don't want to be crashing that thing. Um, and
No,
yeah, no, it
I'm
just gives
fixing to
you,
order me a thermal drone. So it
yeah,
cost me
man.
$109 for this thermal drone, but I want one because I think that's going to play big on the scripted investigations.
Yeah. No, man, his was like almost, I think, 7, 8 grand or maybe more. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, no, it just gives you a
Oh, the one
whole
I was
other.
looking at is the same one that the law enforcement uses. Yeah.
Who
I
knows?
was
It
looking at one that
probably
law
is.
enforcement uses. That's about 5 grand.
Wow. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it gives you definitely a great advantage, especially at night, you know, and yeah, no, hopefully one day we could have one of those. I mean, I got the little cheap drones right now, and just been practicing with those, and doubled up on those because I know I've crashed them before. So yeah, just practicing with that, and they're not, you know. they're kind of squirrely, so it's not the greatest of drones. But hopefully, soon here we'll be able to step up and upgrade and get something a little more decent.
Oh yeah. So and that's the thing. Like I'll get what I can get me by for now, but eventually, I mean, I'm stepping everything up. I'm always constantly trying to evolve things and get it going. I mean, I've used thermal on paranormal investigations. I've never had very much luck with thermal on paranormal. I don't know why. I've not had very good luck. I know people that have, but I've seen it not work more than it's worked. So I'm like, why do I want to carry that equipment with me? And I got to haul all my equipment. I've got to set everything up because I'm a one man show. I go out, find the clients. The clients come to me. I do the interviews. I do the research on the area. I do the video one. I do the investigation. I come back. I stitch it together, which I'm constantly trying to improve my video editing. So I mean, I'm a one man shop. That's why it takes me forever to get a video out because it's just me doing it. So I've got to go through all the evidence by myself. I got to stitch it together by myself, try to figure out what flows together better by myself. I'm trying to constantly do all that type of stuff. And I don't have the money for all that fancy programming. Makes it look nice and pretty. Y'all, I'm just a hillbilly from Missouri. I'm a single daddy who's got bills. I ain't got that kind of cash.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I wish I had money to blow on gadgets and stuff too, but yeah, little by little, and if we can't, get the official one, then we get the next best thing till we could. And yeah, man, no, and I've lost a lot of gear too, I've lost a lot of game cameras and stuff like that. I'm down to one. I used to have like 8 of them, and I'm down to one now, and yeah, we'll slowly build that back up. But I love geeking out on the gadgets, and I can't wait to see what's coming out next. And
Oh,
I'm always trying little things, and yeah, no, I need to get myself. I recently got a laptop and been doing the live streams and stuff like that, and so that's been fun. But yeah, no, I need to get these what is it, hard drives, and start collecting more
yeah.
SD cards and all that takes money. And
So,
yeah, and you're mentioning the video editing. I'm getting more familiar with that as well. I'm no expert at any of these things, and I'm just
yeah.
still learning too,
I'll
man.
grab.
And I got some
I
friends that are
got
doing
my.
some pretty good things, and yeah, no, it's very inspiring.
I'm going to show you a new toy I got for doing investigations. And this is the best $60 I ever spent when it comes to doing investigations. It's not going to work on cryptid because of IR, but it is very good for paranormal. I've still got them out. I haven't put them up yet because I just got there finished downloading everything onto my external hard drive so I can start stitching things together and going through it. But give me 1 second. I'll show you something, and it's wireless. That's why I like it, is because I bought it
Cool.
wireless, so that way I can have them in different spots going back to my iPad. But give me 1 second.
Right on.
Watch out, my boys. Watch out, my boys.
What's he? Is he gonna bust out the cat balls or what? That's what we've been using lately. Is a lot of different little lights, and we had a buddy of ours bring it's this little projector, and it projects out different all these like almost psychedelic patterns and colors and stuff. And so we had that going one of the nights. Uh, and we'll get into this little
Sorry for
trip I got
growing,
into
guys.
here. What do we got here?
I need to pop a pill. All right. I grabbed my thermal too, being I was right there. But I've actually got solar chargers because these things will hook up to a solar charger. So that way I can put these up in areas that I don't have a plug in. These things here go directly to my iPad and record, which I've
Nice.
got a down here in the bottom, I've got a mini SIM card. These things are motion detected. It'll see at night. It automatically goes to night vision. If something passes in front of it, this light lights up. So, like, I've had orbs light this up, and when I see an orb light that up, I get excited because yes, an insect can do it. It's hard for an insect to do it. An insect can do it, but if it does it multiple times, I get excited.
Yeah. And
And
you said
these
that
things are
has no IR.
no, that has IR, so it ain't going
Okay.
to work for cryptid.
Okay.
Sadly, you may get lucky. I don't know. You may catch something off in the distance, but my thermal is this thing right here. Now, this is a infrared brand. It's an infrared brand. It goes into the bottom of my camera,
Mm-hmm.
which I have two of them now. And that thing, without even zooming out, can see a little over 100 yards without even
Nice.
zooming.
That's
So,
cool.
and it shows it's got as clear as pictures. Well, that's what that was taken off of was that thing right there.
Right on.
That thermal that I was showing. That
Yeah.
was caught off of that right there. It goes directly to my phone. So,
Cool.
but yeah, that security, all this is a wireless security camera. It's something as simple as that right there. Like I said, no, I think I said 60. I think it was 50. I think I got it on sale for 50. They had I bought some stuff whenever they have them sales, but it's like 60, 70 bucks. That thing there, I've caught so much stuff off of that right there because I can leave an area. And a lot of times things are very active when you leave an area. So I can plug it into that solar charger and walk away, or I could plug it into a wall if I got a plug in close by. And I tested it out. Them solar chargers on that absolutely works. And the battery lasted the whole investigation and still had juice left over.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, no, even the game cams. I was just looking at some the other day. They have them with the little solar panel and rechargeable batteries, and then they have Wi-Fi as well. So if you put them in a, so that's the thing. I'm like, all right, well, you got to have Wi-Fi for it to send you the pictures and or videos. Um,
It's built in.
is built in.
I've got all mine but one are Wi-Fi, and they go directly to my phone.
Yeah,
So anytime it hits, it automatically sends it to me.
yeah. So my question is, so if and we tested it out. My buddy was able to set one up at Bluff Creek, and up there, there's very few spots where you get actually like cell phone service. Um, so we put it in an area where I guess he was able to have some service. But eventually, the next year, a bear had taken it down. It seemed like, but yeah. So I guess you would have to put it somewhere that will give you service to your phone, right? Because you can't put it in a place where you don't get Wi-Fi. Then how do you get the pictures,
It
right?
it it does pretty good. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you'll be in areas that don't. Real quick, Bronx, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that so much. You're awesome, man. I didn't see my little hoo-ha window pop up, so I got to check that out. Um, but yeah,
Monisha,
I
we're
mean,
coming over
like
for
it'll
dinner.
keep it. It'll keep it. It'll still take the pictures, and then once it and you get Wi-Fi, it'll automatically send it to your phone.
Roger that. Got it. That
So
makes sense.
yeah.
But no,
Now
that's cool. Also, I think if you
it's
do
funny.
set, what's that?
Go ahead. Oh
Yeah, I
no,
was
go
just
ahead.
gonna
I'll let
say
you. And then
if you
I
could
want to pull up a picture.
yeah, you could set it up somewhere rural, and as long as you do have a little bit of service there, then you should be able to get your stuff, and you could keep it there. So I think that's super cool. You don't have to wait till next year or whenever it is that you go to your areas, check up and check SD cards. You get it sent right to you. Yeah, we got to get some of those cameras going.
Heck yeah.
And actually, my
Hold on
buddy
one
that had
second.
that camera worked for Amazon, so I'm sure he got a little discount on it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I need to get me an Amazon buddy when I'm wanting to buy stuff. So you were talking about how you thought a bear had moved your camera, correct? Which
Yeah,
in
yeah,
your
yeah.
neck of
Look,
the woods is possible. I want to say I'm about ready to pop something up on the screen. I want you to take a look at it because keep my cameras tied to my tree, and I've actually got images after I've went out to check my game cams, and they've literally been moved from in front of the tree to way to the side. This happens a couple times, and there's a set of fingerprints that's way better than what these are here, but it's on my laptop, and I'm trying to figure out how to get it off of there if I can get it to fire up long enough to do it. So this image I'm about to show you was the last time that I've had my game cam move from one side of the tree to another, and an image was caught. Uh, they will go around IR. They just don't like to be captured on it. Let me know what you see in the upper corners of this when it pops up. Oh, that's muted us, didn't it? Or muted you, or you're muted. Okay.
No, I'm
There we go.
muted,
Let's
but
see. Can you
I
hear
don't
me?
know. I mean,
Okay.
I see two round, kind of roundish shaped things. I don't know what are we
Yeah. So
fingertips?
if you look at this one, if you look at this one, it almost looks like a fingernail right there, and then the part of that finger right here,
Uh-huh.
and then you see how that's elongated right there. And then of course this is probably from them taking my game cam and going moving it. That's happened
Mm-hmm.
twice. Now the other pictures, if I can get my hands back on them again, way more defined than this. I mean, you literally can see the fingers where they've grabbed my game cam and moved them because it was in their hunting area and they didn't want to be caught on game cam. That's just the last one I found. And then this one here, the same thing. I'd gotten that picture and it told me that my game or it captured that picture. I go out to take a look and my game cam had been moved again.
Oh
And
yeah.
this camera was in a different spot than the original one, but it's in the same area. So what it was is they didn't want to get. I think this is my opinion. They didn't want to get caught on camera hunting because that's my also where my rifle stand is. Both times this has happened is right around my rifle stand for deer season, and it's the same area that I know they hunt because that's where I get most of my footprints, most of my tree structures from, most of that stuff. I get that from that area. So
Yeah, that's a
and
trip.
that's happened
I was going to mention
in that same area.
one time that something that reminds me of that. It was at my place, and I had things going on there. Uh, I had set a game cam, and one time there was a tree that landed right in front of the game cam, so you couldn't see. The camera
Mm-hmm.
couldn't take pictures after that. So I thought that was pretty odd. It kind of reminds me of this situation here.
Yeah. Now, and I always play devil's advocate on this, and I'll admit, on that game cam, I have caught bucks fighting each other in front of that. Both play fighting and dominant fighting in front of that game cam. The problem is, as tight as that game cam is to that tree, and I know bucks can hit hard, but they're not going to literally move it from. They're going to move it at 90 degrees. These both times this thing was facing here, it was facing a 90-degree over here. They're not going to do that.
Hmm.
It's usually within a 30 to 45-degree angle once they get hit by them. Because I've had them hit it and I have to go out and readjust them. And I've never had a buck move it more than about a 45-degree angle from what it originally was.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've heard of this before. People, talking about them moving cameras like that, and it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it be a reason why we don't capture them so much like that. And
Yep.
I still like, and I think it maybe the same reason why you do. I enjoy putting even though they have IR, or people talk about the game cams or certain cameras or like floodlights, certain things being deterrents for like Sasquatch, but I think it's
Yeah.
still cool because you could capture other things. You mentioned the orbs and stuff, and I think I got some of that stuff recently also on game cam. I consider bugs, but and some of it might be, but there's other little things moving around that they're just moving a little too weird, and I don't think bugs move like that. So yeah, I do think things get captured even with IR, you know. So it's still worth putting out there. And then, not to mention, of course, the wildlife. You're mentioning bucks fighting right now. That'd be super cool to capture. Yeah, any wildlife and stuff like that, I'm totally into, and any other high strangeness as
Oh yeah.
well. So I'm all about putting out cameras. Um, yeah, no, I've gotten some weird stuff
I've got
myself, man.
I've gotten a few videos on my YouTube of the wildlife I catch on these game cams. Now I've caught some weird shit on them too. I've caught what looked like a portal or a vortex, whatever it is you want to call it. I can't describe it. Um, I don't know. It just literally blacks out in one area. If it was an insect, you'd be able to tell. You can't tell. This is very weird looking because everything around it's clear except for this very dark, blurry spot. That's happened twice. And number two is if it was a animal, then it would completely black it out and it doesn't black it out. I mean, anytime I've had a squirrel, a coon, or even a snake go right over that lens, you can see the details of that critter on them. So I've never had one where it completely blacked it out. You can see the fur, you can see the scales, you can see the claws, you can see the fingers. Every time they cross in front of these cams, I've been able to see that. And this portal, whatever it is that I caught on this game cam, during a time when some not so friendly things were happening around here, was caught. And I've caught it twice. Once in the center of my game cam and once off to the right of my game cam. I've caught it in two different time frames or 2 different days.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I've never dealt with, I don't think, I mean, not that I know of, with actual like portals or anything like that. Um, but I have seen some videos. I have a friend who has a very interesting video, which I would imagine a portal looks like. But yeah, no, I've heard a couple people also mention about possibly having portals caught on camera somehow. And yeah, no, I would love to check it out. And it's been coming up a lot more these days, Portal Talk and stuff like that, which is I think it's good. I don't doubt. I'm pretty sure there is portals. I just like, again, I haven't seen one for myself, I don't think. But no, they got to be out there. And science is catching up with that stuff, and I don't know. I'm just like one of those types that I'm not waiting for science or someone to confirm, or for them to what is it, disclose or whatever it may be, for us to believe something that's really happening, or things that are real. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's completely backwards, the way we've been taught, our education system and stuff like that, man. It just seems like everything we were taught was not so true, man. Or there's just a whole lot more to it that we weren't taught, and it's just like, wow. But
So
yeah, there's got to be all these things going on.
I was trying to find the one that hasn't been marked up, but I've caught orbs on my game cam. I've caught what was possibly fairies on my game cam. I was trying to look for the one that hasn't been marked up on showing that portal, and I'm having a hard time finding it, so I'm not going to be able to get to it quick. But this photo here from my game cam, this one was very interesting because, oops, crap, hit the wrong button. That same night that I caught this, I literally had what looked like one of those fairies almost fly into my face in my front door. The dogs went nuts barking at my door, and I opened the door because I let them out, and all of a sudden this fairy looking thing that looks very similar to this here flew in front of my face in my front door. And then later on that night, I captured that on my game cam. Probably 2 hours after. And this is on the back side of my north side of my property. So this in here was taken 2 hours after that incident happened to me on my front porch, and that is about 300 yards north of me is where that's at, and I captured that. And this did not set off my game cam. This was done at 12:09 at night, and my game cams do a um, test screenshot at 12:09 every night, and that's how that was captured. Was during one of those test deals.
Yeah,
So
I'll
the
have to
shape,
send you some of my game cam stuff too, because I got some stuff that looks similar. You know, again, I bring up bugs, you know, just because we got to question everything. But yeah, some of this stuff they look like uh they look like bugs, but I don't think they are. Again, there's what is it? The skyfish people call. There's different objects, rods, um, and so yeah, no, I feel like who was it? I think was it you bringing up the our spectrum, our vision spectrum recently? Was it you and
yeah,
Nighthawk? Yeah, you guys. I think it was you
uh,
guys just the other
yeah.
night.
Me and William talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we could only obviously we could only see so much. So what aren't we seeing, you know? Or what is it, you know, maybe there's some in between there. Our spectrum could only see so much, so maybe there's some things that we could see every so often and stuff like that. Or maybe yeah, obviously the camera's picking up stuff that maybe we can't see either. Yeah, because I was mentioning, so we're up at Bluff Creek a few weeks ago earlier in July, and you know it's a well-known Bigfoot spot there. And I had my game cam out, and yeah, it started capturing what looked like, and there was a bunch of gnat. There's these gnats that get in your eye, and mosquito. There's a bunch of mosquitoes, and they would come out like at certain hours, and then they would kind of kick back for a bit, but they were out there. So yeah, no, you got to consider that. But yeah, for some reason, I just don't think it's those any of those bugs because when there is what looks like a moth fly by, the moth looks pretty visible. It's not out of focus, not blurry or anything. As to where all these other objects, like the orbs, what I'm calling orbs, and possibly other objects flying by, they have like a weird, almost like a blurry look, out of focus type look sometimes, and it could be the rate of speed that they're traveling, or I don't know, but it just I don't think they're the bugs, you know, and yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I know there's people
See,
out there that I have friends that are like will not even touch this stuff, but I think it's very important, especially when we're out looking for Bigfoots and stuff like that. I like to see what else is happening out there, and
mhm.
is there any connections with these other things, which a lot of people have been making, and these beings too. So I think there's something there definitely with light. Some people have mentioned UFOs and all that stuff. High strangeness like that around Bigfoot hotspots around, so it's something to take
Mhm.
note of for sure. You can't throw that out. And I have friends that,
Yeah.
again, won't deal with that. And I still go out in the field with them and we still do our thing. We all do our thing in our own way, and I try to just respect what everyone's doing, even though it's maybe something that I'm not doing myself. I got to respect it, and that's where I think a lot of issues happen too. People, a lot of people don't like to be wrong, or everyone, people like to be right and stuff like that, or you don't want to make mistakes, and so yeah, no, it's all part of it, and yeah, no, I'm open to I make mistakes all the time, so and yeah,
Oh
being
yeah.
wrong,
And
there's
so
nothing wrong with that either.
so like that one there, Kevin brought up a good point. Was that a lunar moth? Which my first look on it automatically went to yes, this is a moth. What drew me away from the concept of it being a moth was moths don't have tails. And if you remembered in that picture, that was solid all the way at the bottom, almost like a tail. It looked like one of the best way to describe it. You hear about them fairies look like a white dandelion seed that flies off and you blow it off with a dandelion. That's what it looked like, except it had wings. And that's the same thing was what that one there was. That's what drew my attention to that. And there is high. I mean, we got fairies. We got fae in these woods. I live in the Ozark Mountains. We got tons and tons of fae. Ozark Mountains is the oldest mountain ranges in the world. They've just been eroded down through millions and millions and millions of years. So, but that doesn't mean that the fey is gone. So you will catch. Yeah, I mean, I like game cams. I'm not a fan of them with cryptids because anytime, and I've done this purposely. Have done this. I've moved my game cams because outside the triggering range of my game cam, you'll find an X formation of trees, and I've purposely moved them just to test that theory. And where I move it at, a couple days later, you'll find another X right outside that triggering range. That's why I'm a big believer. It's like they put that up there, go, hey, don't go past this, you'll get caught. Because I think they know what it is. We've been using them long enough. I mean, they know what it is. But every now and then things slip up. And this, like this thing here, this slipped up one day. This was taken on another test shot. See at 1209 test shot. This never triggered my camera. This was actually captured when my camera was doing a test photo. So I can't say something strange won't pop in front of your camera and you won't capture it because you will. But for me, you've
And
got to set
what
it
it
up like I do.
what is that? Is it like a blur there? I
Uh-huh.
see like a white, almost like this white blur. Am I missing something?
That's the thing. Yeah, you see how it's just all blurred out right here. I mean, it's everything else is clear all the way around it except for this one spot right here. This whole spot
Yep.
right here.
Yeah.
See, it's
See, and
clear from here. It's clear
yeah,
up all there,
yeah,
but from here down.
yeah. I find that pretty weird.
I don't know
You
what
know,
it is.
I look for stuff like that. You know, and for some people that might be nothing. You know, they're like, oh, well, it could be, you know, dust or uh, the mist or but no, I think that's yeah, it's weird, something there. And what happens a lot of
So
these times, sometimes, so we've been capturing other objects, like for instance outside of the shop here. There's been actually yesterday I finally seen when things have really calmed down. Bless you, bro. I had my brother sneeze.
as soon as
um and yeah, so yesterday I finally had a little sighting, and it was it's like these I call them orbs because they're like little silver roundish objects, and they flicker around. This is daytime, and we get these other objects that'll zip by pretty much anything that's flying up in the sky, and those we've been calling them fast
mhm,
movers or dragons and stuff. So I'm recording the
yeah,
orb, and luckily I had a plane going by, so I used that for like a base reference, and then I moved down towards the orb, and I focus on the orb, and sure enough, I start seeing the little fast movers zipping by. Before the I guess the untrained eye, um, yeah, you'll think it's just a fly or a bug and stuff like that. But we've been really looking into these videos, and it could, if it is an insect, it's an amazing insect, and someone should be given an award for discovering them. And it's not me, but
yeah,
yeah, these things are zipping by, and so there's a couple people that have zeroed in and have really been researching these things, and yeah, to us, it's not. It just it the way they act, they're pretty much predictable. I've caught them a bunch of times. I could get them pretty much almost any time I record out in the sky. But yeah, and there's a channel. I'll share the channel with you. It's called Custodian File or Custodian Files on YouTube. And Dr. Shipe there really goes in, and he's actually not too far from me. He's over at Marina Del Rey off the coast here,
mhm,
or on the coast. Actually, off the coast is Catalina Island from him, which has a lot of history there. So those are his waters there, and they seem to be coming out of the jetty rocks right there out of the Marina Del Rey. And yeah, so you could check his channel out to find out more about those objects. But yeah, no, if you got
yeah,
those zipping around, and it's happening everywhere. Yeah, no, there's got to be other stuff zipping by too. There's some weird little different shaped objects that we also get. You got the orbs, these fast movers, which are like a bullet shape, and then sometimes they'll have these little wings, and that's where people will really feel that they're bugs. But actually, the Dr. Shipe is saying that those things could be almost like plasma jets that are helping these objects project themselves, which makes pretty good sense too. And yeah, no, so I think he's
Hmm.
definitely onto something there, and it's just something to keep an eye out for, you know. And anyone could do it, anyone could record them, and maybe we'll get some of those types of videos
Yeah.
from you out your way, Eric.
Heck, yeah, I mean, I call them the orb style too, UFOs, just because they're a white ball that do some freaky ass movements across the night sky. I get them all the time out here. Hey, Mister Duffy, um, I see that type of stuff out here all the time. I see, my very first UFO experience. I was 9 years old, leaving Forsyth, Missouri, on Christmas Eve. I was leaving Grandma and Grandpa Steinman's place, and we were on the road heading back to 65. And I look up in night sky and I see a line of colorful lights. And I was like, "Oh wow!" I thought it was Santa, Christmas Eve. So I told Mom, and we had an '85 Monte Carlo at this time. So I loved laying in that back window of that '85 Monte Carlo. It had one of the big old dashes in the back window, back when cars were made as cars, good cars. And I look up and see that. I was like, Mom, I said, there's Santa Claus. She goes, well, you better go to sleep or he's not going to come by and deliver presents. So I watched it for a few seconds more. That thing turned into a circle. And then it started spinning just like wickedly fast and then shot straight up in the air. That was my very first UFO experience I ever had. And I've seen UFOs all over this world. I mean, we've had them. I've seen them outside of military bases. I've seen them out in the ocean. I've seen them on land. I've seen them everywhere, all over this world. So yeah, oh yeah, there's definitely, I've seen all different kinds of stuff. I've seen them do split up different ways, do weird freaking maneuvers I can't explain, come back together as one thing, or all take off at the same time. It's just I've seen so much weird crap when it comes to UFOs.
Yeah, I bet you have. And actually, I was just listening to an encounter. It was a pretty good one. It's off of Flash of Beauty's channel. They've been putting out some pretty good interviews there. And this guy was talking about he's seen an elk standing on 2 feet, and it shapeshifted into a Sasquatch, and then into like an orangutan colored Sasquatch, and it was like in a fetal position, and then it turned into like an orange orb. It was pretty far out, but uh, I could imagine that because I have seen the strange lights, and yeah, even recently going, this past trip up in Bluff Creek, again, a lot of people that I go with there, they're not, into the strange lights and stuff like that. But there was one particular night, and I spent more than 2 weeks up there, so this was a good amount of time to spend in the area there. And on one particular night, I'm in my tent, and everyone had gone to bed. The weirdest, this light started lighting up behind my tent, and it was the weirdest thing, man. I just got a particular vibe. And then I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned I was talking about it on Jessica's show, but there was also this smell, this like sewer smell coming through, and it was strong. It just kept getting stronger and stronger, and I had never experienced the smell or these lights like that there before. And so I started recording from inside my tent. So I got quite a bit of footage. My phone was actually full of data and stuff, so I couldn't record much, but due to the situation, I came out with some of the footage, and it was just the weirdest experience. And I actually got the smell again a couple nights later, but it was a complete different smell. It was still a bad odor, but it wasn't that sewer type smell. But it was weird that the lights are going. These light phenomenons happening, and I still want to confirm with one other person just to make sure. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't him with the flashlight or anything like that because he was actually not feeling good that night. But and like I said, it was coming from behind my tent. There was nothing behind there but like woods and stuff like that. And I was the last one up, so I could tell if someone was around, like a person, and I could tell that someone was around, but it wasn't a person. And yeah, bro, just something strange coming out of that area, and I don't think anyone else has really talked about anything on that particular level. I've seen strange lights in that area, and I actually got some stuff on Game Cam from last year. And yeah, and I just I've shared some of it on my channel, but again, yeah, I don't know. It's just certain people you could share that stuff with, and there's others that you probably it's better not to. And
Yeah.
some of those people are people I know, and they're friends, and we go up there and stuff. But yeah, no, there's definitely some weird stuff going on. And actually, the campground we were at, certain people that they were there, and this particular guy, the thermal drone guy I was mentioning earlier. Yeah, he's like, dude, that campsite is haunted, and he says it, he knows it, and I feel he's I want to say, I guess you could say maybe sensitive, like he picks up on things, man. And he's been getting some audio out of there because people are always asking what's new from that area and what there's stuff happening up there. And there were some other things that happened that I didn't mention on Jessica's show. Luckily, on Jessica's show, I was able to express a lot of what was going on. It was trying to squeeze 2 weeks into like an hour and a half or 2 hour show. It's a little difficult, but anyway, so there was things there's stuff happening up there still. We didn't get a full on like patty sighting or anything like that, but people have been claiming to
Mhm.
see things, and while we were there and stuff like that. So there's some high strangeness going on, in my opinion. And anyway, I wanted to mention that. What else? There was something else I wanted to mention from up that way, but
Have,
anyway, you can stay tuned. We're gonna hopefully have a video out soon. Today, I threw out a little video, unedited version for members. I don't. I think maybe one or two people have seen it, but just something there for the members to check out. A little sneak peek behind our campground area where this had happened, and yeah, I want to be able to put something together and elaborate on what I was experiencing. And because a lot of times I don't do that in my videos, I just started doing that, just being more vocal and explaining what's happening as to just posting a video. And I try to do that when I'm recording on the spot. I try to explain as much as possible, what I'm experiencing, what I'm feeling, what I'm finding, what I'm thinking, and stuff like that. And so yeah, man, I'm definitely working on being more more verbal, man. Just expressing myself more.
so I got a question. What's
Yeah.
the Bigfoot like in your area? Are they friendly? Are they aggressive? Have you noticed in your area?
Well,
Or are they kind of mixed?
I've never had a negative experience. I've gotten the creepy vibes. There's been some scary moments for sure, but like nothing. I've never been like bluff charged or anything like that. Uh, from what I've heard, let's see. Yeah, well, there's like the natives have talked about way back. I think this is the Yurok tribe because there's several tribes right there near that Bluff Creek area. The Yurok tribe being one of them, and in some of their stories, there's talks of them taking the women, taking children and stuff like that. So you hear that, and actually our county up there, Humboldt County, for a long time was actually known for missing people. Their statistics were really high actually compared to the rest of the state. For a while there, they were actually number one for missing persons. Not only strange cases, just all types of missing persons cases. Just the numbers were showing it. So, and there is that element there. People go there to get away. People disappear there, and so there's a lot happening. There's actually even the Native American women issue with them going missing and stuff like that. Very similar to like the Highway of Tears, just not on that scale. But yeah, no, there's
Mhm.
that going on there, and doesn't get talked about too much. Um, so yeah, no, I think there is
And I also
a
tell you, my time in California, I've seen a lot of UFO activity in California when I
no,
was
I
there.
think
A
yeah, no,
lot.
I think like Bigfoot is number one for Washington. California, I believe right now we're usually number one for UFO sightings, and we're like for a while there. I don't know for this year. but we were like number 3 for Bigfoot. So it's like usually it's like Washington, Oregon, and California. You know, kind of switches up every once in a while, but for the most part. But it was I found it interesting that Washington was number 1 for Bigfoot, but they're also number 3 or 2 for UFO activity. So you know,
Yeah.
I put that in my notes,
So I got.
and uh-huh.
Go
The
ahead.
same thing
Sorry.
for California. High numbers of
Yeah.
UFO and Bigfoot activity. So pretty interesting, I think.
Heck yeah. Jessica and I have talked about this before. She's seen orbs with Bigfoot activity and stuff like that. I personally haven't, which I've always made a suggestion that these orbs that she's seeing, that could be Fae that's attached with them with them Bigfoots, and or it could be because I'm a firm believer the fact that we can make offspring together. That at one time we were genetically similar. We just for some reason, Homo sapiens split off and became what we are now. But we can still make offspring together. So we have a soul. I've seen plenty of orbs in paranormal experience or investigations I've been on. Could those orbs around them Bigfoot be their ancestors still following them around? Have you ever experienced in a Bigfoot area a lot of orb activity?
Yeah, so in a Bigfoot area, yes. So I was just describing some of the orb activity in the Bluff Creek area there, and
Oh, okay.
but I've never seen them like together. And I know there's people that have, like I explained, that guy with the elk transforming and everything, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
But for some reason that it just resonated with me because I have seen the orange orbs and but yeah, no, I've gotten, so even on our land when I lived up in Northern California, I was getting the orbs pretty much nightly, and then sometimes we'd get the just weird, like the knocks, what sound like wood knocks. Also, like the trees getting pushed over. I seen that more than enough times. I'm like, man, dude, it's can't be all natural. So yeah, just other stuff that
Right.
was happening on the land there that was kind of making me think maybe some Bigfoot activity was going on. And then I had my first sighting on the land there. But yeah, no, the orbs were almost like it was a constant thing, almost on the regular basis. So, and I seen Candy Wolf was asking something about where, maybe it was Bluff Creek. I'm not exactly sure what she was asking there, but
Yeah. Where that at, Dwarf? Yeah, I was thinking Bluff Creek was it. Another question for you. I don't know if you ever seen the live I did with William Nighthawk. The story behind how I captured this. I was doing a show. Jessica was a co-host on my show one Sunday night. Of course, we got done. We were BSing backstage, sharing stories and just talking like we always do when I'm live with her or she's live with me. We got done. I had to go outside to the woodshed to get some wood for the fire for the wood stove. Well, I'm like, I'm going to be out there in a few minutes. So I just threw some boots on real quick, was in my shorts, and threw a jacket and went running out to the woodshed out back. And I heard the loudest freaking wolf howl I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it hurt the ears. It was loud. A split second later, so that came from the north. From the south, a split second later, a crap ton of extremely close coyotes, and I froze. Now, normally we have red wolves, and we have Missouri timber wolves here. Wolves normally don't scare me because they're not aggressive here. They're going to run from you. They're just not aggressive. I literally felt like I was a target to be hunted. And I was like, man, I am unarmed. I mean, I'm just out here in a pair of shorts. I'm unarmed. So hurried my fat ass back to the house. Of course, I was texting the DA. He's like, oh my God, you ain't gonna believe what happened. He's like, you got to get your parabolic mic out. I was like, I'm trying, but there ain't no batteries in it. For some reason, I forgot to put batteries back in this. So I finally got the batteries, which my parabolic mic, I have it set up where I can hook a digital 360 recorder to it. And that way I can record as long as I got that trigger pulled, and I've got a strap that goes around that trigger to keeps that trigger pulled, so I can set that in the area and walk away. I've caught more vocals and more activity doing that technique than I have ever done it just sitting there holding it and moving it around. What I caught wasn't what I was set out to catch. I literally have caught Bigfoot talking Lakota, and it was a female. She said Shante, which is Lakota for calm yourself, and it's in the Lakota song. Shante waste hoste da da giashtima ha ha hepa hey waste oh yeah. The very first word of that song, Shante. Then I caught two different males at two different distances. We thought was Chickasaw at first, and the more we heard it, the more it sounds Cherokee. Have you caught any Bigfoot vocals in your area? Because I've caught the hoops, I've caught the growls, I've howls, and all the whistles, but I also caught language.
Yeah, I've never caught. I don't think language or anything like that, but I've caught like roars. There's one really faint one, but yeah, like some weird little roar, and they're kind of faint. I was using my phone at the time, but yeah, there's little bits and stuff, little odd vocals that I could send you that could be possibly Bigfoot. Um, but the language stuff doesn't surprise me because again, the natives, and even in our area up in Northern California, there, talked about trading and all that. So they must have been able to communicate on some sort of level, either through language or some other means, But and it doesn't surprise me also because I've heard of, and you can find this in one of Politis, David Politis wrote a couple books from our particular area there, the Hoopa Project, and there's Tribal
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot. So I think it's in Tribal Bigfoot he even put in there, and I've heard through other people before too, like when the natives in the area there would have like ceremonies and stuff like that. A lot of times uh, they say Bigfoots would be watching it from the ridges or from the tree lines and stuff like that. And so maybe that's a way that they would be able to pick up, I don't know, language or something like that. I mean, I'm just thinking in my mind, like how would they learn, stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, but then again, we think of I do think they're intelligent beings. There's something to them, there's something mystical and supernatural to them. And I go back and forth, and I'm all like, yeah, they're flesh and blood when they want to be, and then when they don't, maybe they could do other things, but yeah, so I would imagine that maybe watching, because they do like to observe. Maybe that's how, I've heard them supposedly that they mimic, and they could say your name, make your name sound like someone is calling you, type stuff. Uh, also, them being ventriloquists, I think is super. Like
Yeah.
what? That's wild. Yeah, no, and I could see. I wouldn't doubt it, man. I would not doubt that. So I keep all those things in mind, and yeah, no, there's. I think it's a lot more than what we think. They say, yeah, the more you learn, the more
Oh yeah.
you don't know, and yeah, I believe it's true.
Oh yeah. On this brings up a good point. I personally have heard that samurai chatter out here on multiple occasions on my property, and every time I try to catch it, they quit. I was just extremely lucky to catch that chatter that one time, or them actually speaking, native tongue. You hear the stories from our native ancestors. They used to talk to each other. They used to raid together. They used to go to powwow together. They used to raid each other. And I mean, they had both sides of the complex of a relationship with one tribe between one tribe and another. So the fact that they know these languages, I firmly believe in it, and I've literally caught it. So it made me even a bigger believer. Um, Candy had a question. Was it the far northwest corner of California dwarf town with all the little activity? I mean, you're
So
muted.
yeah, no, that the activity that I was talking about in Northern California, that's in the Bluff Creek area. And for those that don't know, so Bluff Creek is where the Patterson Gimlin film was filmed, and I do
Hmm.
believe that's a real Bigfoot there. And
Oh yeah, 100.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because even some people we uh, question, why would they pull a hoax at that particular spot? Because when you go to the spot, you see how remote it is. It's super remote, and it just doesn't make sense, logistically, financially. And yeah, they could have Roger and Bob could have pulled that off up in Washington, and yeah, for them to do it all the way down there, and just the whole background to how that came about. So it wasn't just like them just popping in there and, oh, all of a sudden, there was a activity happening that led up to that film there, and once you get into it, you start finding out some stuff, and there's a lot of questionable and fishy stuff too, behind the story. So it's not all like, there's some stuff that's missing, that's, makes me question stuff and makes you wonder if it really is, true. um but yeah, no, it's a fascinating story, and it's just super cool to be have that as, one of your areas. For me, it just kind of fell in my lap. I just happened to be living up there, and these areas are there, all this history of Bigfoot, and I got the bug, and yeah, I haven't stopped, man, and I don't think I'm stopping anytime soon. But yeah, I just love getting into it, getting out too, like as much as possible, just being in nature, even if nothing's happening. You still just camping out and enjoying the wilderness, or wherever it may be that you're at, the desert, beach, or whatever. Uh, I love that, man, and so yeah, all the other stuff is just icing on the cake.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just thinking that very same thing, Judy. See, I got a good brother of mine, and actually the one that gave me my road name. He used to live in California, and that guy that claimed that he was the Bigfoot for that video, and you could tell by the costume he had, he wasn't. That was all for him to get his name out there to make buck.
Oh,
Of course, my buddy was his neighbor, and he still swears up and down it was that guy that was saying he was the one taking that deal. But when they redid the Patty video and what you're describing here, Judy, you can see the muscles move, you can see
oh
everything
yeah,
else move. I mean, the details just off the hook.
you can see the boobies, but yeah. Well, so what are you saying? Your buddy of yours was claiming he was the guy in the suit.
No, he lived. He was the neighbor of the guy that claimed he was in the suit,
Oh, all right, yeah, Bob
and so he still
Hieronymus, yeah,
thinks today that yeah, he still
yeah.
claims
Well,
he still believes that. Oh, that was him. He told me. He showed me suit and everything. I'm like, bro, that suit don't even look nothing like Patty.
yeah. Well, what's funny is that uh, Bob Gimlin, and so that's Bob Hieronymus. So he's neighbors with Bob Hieronymus, I guess is what you're saying. But Bob Gimlin, who was there during the filming, and Bob Hieronymus, the guy who claims to be in the suit, they're neighbors in Washington, and yeah, I hear they don't get along.
No, no, yeah. So it was comical. He goes, no, man, he showed me, and I said, I know he showed it to you, but no, that's not it. I don't like if it ain't worth arguing. I don't argue. So in my head, I'm going, man, I know exactly what suit you're talking about, and that looks nothing like Patty. Absolutely nothing like Patty. But hey, some people's going to believe it. I'm not. So like I say, I'm not here to make a believer. I'm just going to share my experiences of things that I've seen, that I've noticed, my opinions on these things. It's up to you to be a believer, man. That's not up to me.
Yeah, and you know what? There's been a lot of, I see Judy mentioning about MK, and I totally respect MK's work on the Patterson film, stabilizing it and everything, and
Mhm.
uh, and I respect him as a person. But the people that I go up there with, and a lot of them are locals there. Yeah, don't believe that, because MK has his Patterson Giblin site, which is
Mhm.
not the same one we go to. So there's been a little issue there with that. But I do love the work that he's done. Him bringing out even like that flash of light. I think there's something there. There is some
Mhm.
an anomaly there in the Patterson Gimlin
Oh yeah.
footage. I don't subscribe to the massacre theory. He has a theory about them, Patty
No.
being massacred and all that. I don't. I don't know. I guess I'd have to have more proof of that, but at the moment, I don't think that happened. Um, and yeah, so there's been certain little things, you know. I found his fetus video pretty interesting. It's weird. They believe they had a Bigfoot fetus, had found a Bigfoot fetus, but then lost it. I thought that was a little strange there. But yeah, no, MK's still doing
Yeah,
his thing. It's super cool to see his breakdowns of videos and stuff like that. And again, I respect him. No beef there.
yeah, no, I mean, there's just the detail when the muscle moves, and you can't get all that stuff out of the scene. That's why I'm one of those guys. I believe that was a legitimate, Bigfoot capture. I really am. I've been one that way since day one, but with the enhanced version, just improved it even more. Um, let's see here. I had some more questions. Now I'm brain farting. Sorry, I hurt my knees. So I'm moving around quite a bit, trying to get pressure off of my buttocks because it's a little swollen from my buttocks down to my upper calf. So I'm just waiting on that pill to kick in. I started
Yeah,
hurting. I
well, dude, I
was
told
dumb and
you
took too long
uh,
before I took it.
I told you about me last night, bro. I had like Montezuma's Revenge
Mm-hmm.
or something.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I was like, oh god, dude. I know.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I remember them days.
yeah, I don't know what happened, but I don't know if it must have been something I ate or something. But yeah, I was not feeling good last night, and I think it might have been a Black Moon purge, man. But
Did you eat Taco Bell?
feeling better. What Taco Bell? No, we don't do that one.
I always tell
But
people there's two places
we do love
you want to eat if
tacos.
you need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, no,
Well,
dude,
real
you gotta let me
tacos.
make
Yeah.
you gotta let me make you. I'll make tacos for everyone one of these days or something. We gotta do a camp out, and I'll
Well,
do. Hopefully, you
yeah,
eat fish or
I'm
something.
actually trying to plan a camp out next fall.
Oh
I've been
man,
working with DA Roberts on it because I don't. There's certain places here in Missouri I absolutely will not take anybody on a camp out on because I can tell you firsthand, even with experienced investigators, that place runs us out. I mean, there's places around here it's that bad. So we're trying to narrow down a good spot where there is a possibility of capturing something, hearing something, or seeing something with a lot better safety involved on it. So because a lot of the places like where DA goes or where I go, it's not for the weak of heart and it's not for a newbie. I mean, just I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to put anybody down. Trust me, that the what's in them areas, dude. I mean, if it gets my hair standing, I'm an old Marine grunt NCO, man. I've fought so many different types of people out there in this world, all over this world. And if I'm going, yeah, exit stage left, there's a reason why I'm saying exit stage left. It's time to go. you know, it's something I can't handle. So we're actually working on that, putting up a camping trip like that, probably next fall. So,
sounds fun. And you know, I actually got what was it? Was it timed out? I think I got timed out from like DA Roberts. Like I used to listen every once in a while and jump into his chat and check it out. And I remember one time, I don't know, I had like put like two emojis or something. I had set a message like "Good evening" or something. Put two, and then one of his moderators struck me down. I was like, "Oh man, this is
oh yeah,
this is a serious chat here. Emojis are welcome," they said. I was like, "All right." I was like, let me step back from here."
yeah, I remember that. That was like, whoa, 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 no, 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 leave brown dwarf alone. Brown dwarf's good people. Bigfoot dwarf. I still slip and call you brown dwarf from time to time. Bigfoot dwarf's good people. you know, uh, I tell you, oh my gosh, we have almost hit the 2 hour mark. I haven't even realized that. Hey, Bigfoot dwarf, man, thank you. So I got to have you on because I don't think we
Yeah,
got to
no
cover near
problem,
as
man.
much
You,
as we
dude,
wanted to.
we could
But
keep on
that,
going. We got to have Nighthawk on next time, but yeah, we could do this anytime, bro. Let's
yeah,
continue chopping it up because I could keep going on. I mean, like I said, it was even this recent trip. I mean, I spent years up there, lived up there over 10 years, so I have there's been got a few stories. It's been
mm,
a good time up there. Spent a good time up there. But yeah, this last time around, spent 2 weeks up there. I've been back in LA, but 2 weeks was a good amount of time to be there. I wish it could have stayed longer, and hopefully we will next time. But yeah, there's a lot more to talk about, man, just from this last trip. So
yeah.
invite me back, brother.
Heck yeah.
And a salute to everyone
Oh
out
yeah,
there.
you're coming back.
Mr. Duffy, bless up.
Do me a favor, bro, and kind of describe your channels, what you do, and your work. I'm
Yeah,
big
man.
about
So
promoting people's place where they make money.
yeah, man. So always, we try to get out as much as possible. We when we were living in the woods, it was, pretty much all the time is, anytime we could get out. But now being in the city, we're not doing it so much. So I have switched some gears here. I've done some other types of explorations and then a lot of the sky watching when skies were active. But actually, there's some stuff. The mountains aren't too far from here, and we're gonna be doing some stuff. We got to go back and do a remake of that thermal situation. And there's some other Bigfoot reports along the foothills that I've gotten. They're historical ones, but I want to go and take you guys and show you these spots because some of these areas have a lot of other historical stuff. Like one of them is next to NASA and JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory here in Pasadena, and so there's a lot of weird little history and some Bigfoot mixed in the mix there. So it'll be fun to take everyone along. And I actually have taken you guys along. We've done some live streams up there, but I never gave you guys like the whole details. That's what I'm working on is trying to give you details on these locations and all that. And yeah, brother, sky's the limit. Reach for the
Hell
stars.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll be doing that here really soon, man. Again, Eric, thank you and much love to everyone out there. Take care in these wild times.
Okay. If you guys are not following Bigfoot Dwarf, man, I would highly recommend it. Roxanne, thank you so much for blasting all his social media sites on here all night long. I appreciate it. Everybody give a round of applause to my mods. Without them, I'd really be struggling on this show. So thank you so much to my new subscribers and all the way down to my OGs. Thank you guys so much. I am truly grateful and humbled that you guys want to talk to this old fat redneck, talk about the high, strange weirdness, the bizarre and the unknown that's out there. So I don't. Next week we're going to have a brother of mine that does paranormal investigations in Kansas on with his team. So that will be next Sunday's show. As of right now, that's what's scheduled. So we'll have another paranormal show next Sunday. And guys, remember, Saturdays is my show, my Campfire Chats with Eric and Guest show. You guys, that is a safe place for you to come and share your encounters. You want to come on live, I'll bring you on live. You just want to talk about it in chat, we'll talk about it in chat. So if you got some encounters you want to share, make sure you catch up that show on Saturday. That is exactly what that show is for. That was created by you, the subscribers, and that's why we do it. So as always, everybody, never take what I say for granted or any of us say for granted. Take it with a grain of salt. Build upon what we've researched or we've investigated or we discovered or our theories, or build your own. So as always, everybody, peace, love, and blessings to you all. And thank you. And I can't wait to see you again. Good night, everybody.